It's update day. The day I'm recording this, but who knows if it's the day when I'm uploading this. But you know what that means? It means that a new buggy game mode is out, and this game mode is, you guessed it by the fact that I said it, it's buggy. I do kind of enjoy it. It's Railjack. But I just finished farming Sirius and Orion through these missions, and only had my loot eaten twice. Once, actually. I thought it was twice, but I actually recovered it the one time. But I'm going to run it again and talk about it while I'm running it. I'm not going to talk about the quest or anything. That's extreme spoilers, but even just watching this game mode is minor spoilers. So the update's out right now. Go play it before I sit down here, because as soon as I sit... Okay, never mind. I don't even have to sit down. Minor spoilers. There are some minor spoilers from running the missions, but I'm not going to talk about the actual quest, because that would be some pretty big story spoilers. I mean, it's Railjack, but they don't let you use your own Railjack, which is very good for people who haven't spent any time playing Railjack. But I had, not that long ago, worked on my Railjack setup. So, for me, that's a bit disappointing that we don't get to use our own Railjacks. By the way, if I say anything that was just, like, obvious, or we already all knew this, or I say we, but clearly I didn't, I do not watch, like, any of the dev updates or streams or announcements for any of this for Warframe. I don't know why, but I just, like, it's not like I have anything against them. Clearly, I love the game. Digital Extremes, I mean, it's buggy on release, but what isn't? But I just don't watch any of the dev streams, so, like, if everyone else already knew that, like, hey, you don't get to play with your own Railjack. I didn't. But you don't. Which, a little bit disappointing, because I did somewhat recently work on my Railjack stuff. But it's also fine. You still earn intrinsics, and since you still earn intrinsics, I can farm the stuff for this mission. You know, because even though I have the Warframe, I finished farming the Warframe, I didn't farm the weapons, and there is a new merchant that has a lot of new stuff, cosmetic stuff, and one thing that I'm not sure what it is, but I bought it and started crafting it. It was called the name of the merchant's trinket, and it takes 12 hours to build, so gives me very weapon vibes, but it doesn't look like a weapon, so I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff to farm, so I will continue farming these missions once they have been fixed, and they stop eating your loot, and they stop trapping you in the mission, because that's the other thing that happens. It eats the loot, and it traps you in your missions. But I found a way to mostly get around it. It's a little annoying. I'll explain it once I make it to the end of the mission. But I am approaching the end of the Railjack segment. There are 2 separate missions for this, one for each of the new characters introduced, and I much prefer the other one, but they each give you, like, this one gives you green currency, the other one gives you red currency, and I have a decent bit of red currency, but you need a lot of both to get all the stuff from the new merchant. So I figured while I'm talking about it for this video, might as well do a green run. I'll need to do a lot of runs of both anyway, most of which will happen once it's hopefully been fixed. But yeah, it starts out with a little Railjack segment where you gotta do some funky stuff, and then both of them end with a segment that you have to use the forward artillery, and then you hop into a ship mission. A little bit unfortunate that it ended up being like, hey, new Railjack stuff, and it's new, but oops. But a lot of it is still just Railjack taxi into a Warframe mission. Okay, don't know what that was. But then each one of those turns into a separate assassinate mission. Feels like it's charging very slow, but it is charging nonetheless. So that was the Railjack segment. I also don't do Railjack with public lobbies. I accidentally queued into a public lobby, and the game just stopped working. It just put like a connecting or something like that pop up on the screen, and then didn't do that. But that was the Railjack segment. This is the ship segment. It's different for each of them, but both of them seem to be pretty much the same. So like if you're doing the green mission, you're getting the same green mission every time. If you're doing the red mission, you're getting the same red mission every time. It seems to be, it's not like, you know, sometimes you'll get a capture, or sometimes, no, it's a new mission type. So I'll give them that. Yeah, honestly, I say I'll give them that as if like it's the only thing that's even like a little upsetting is I don't even get the choice to use my own railjack. And that it seems to be a little bit buggy. I may just be a little bit of a fool. That's a very, very real possibility that I'm just missing something incredibly obvious. But I don't think anything that I did warrants my loot getting eaten from that one run. I say my loot got eaten, but that's actually technically not true. I just didn't even get any. Like, I just did not even get anything. It's not like I got stuff and then the game was like, oops, no, you didn't actually. It just didn't. Nothing dropped. But each one has a little starting segment there. A kill like an elite mob section. And then, you know, I'll watch the cutscene. A little ride something. In this case, an aura worm through space. I was extremely upset when I first saw this. I believe my words were, aura worm, fuck! Because I thought we were going to have to do an aura worm fight in Railjack, like in space. That's not the case, though. You just ride it. You aim to launch your attacks. It auto-targets. It gets you... The other one, at least, gets you a decent chunk. Oh yeah, you get some Railjack rewards, which is nice because the new Warframes do require some Railjack stuff in order to craft them in the first place. Then you get launched on... I'm skipping that one, sorry. I've already seen it a couple of times. But you get launched on to a second ship where you work your way... I'm playing Hildren, why am I using my guns? Where you work your way over to the assassination. There are 2 new boss fights in the game. Not gonna lie, I forgot there was like a second elite fight here. It's something else. It's on the other mission. It is. You just have to like shoot 3 like hidden like nodes in order to open a door. But they're the exact same spot and they show up before you get to the door. The markers for them don't show up until you get to the door, but the actual things do, so you can shoot them early. Boss fights themselves aren't anything like too crazy. They're pretty typical, you know, Warframe boss fights with phases. Not to say all Warframe boss fights have phases, but these are pretty typical for Warframe boss fights that do. Not altogether too difficult. I actually do prefer this fight to the other one, but I prefer literally everything else about the other mission to this one, so that's the one that I was farming while I was attempting to get the Warframe parts themselves. And oh, yeah. Then this is where stuff starts going wrong. It tells you to return to Railjack. And the one time that I didn't get any loot is when I didn't wait for this. Because, despite this saying, return to Railjack, there does not actually appear to be any way to get out and return to your Railjack. If you try to go back here, doesn't let you. I believe that when you step on that, it's supposed to just take you back to your Railjack. And then this return to Railjack is supposed to like be a pop-up for your allies. But then it pops up, complete. Look at that, I got another chassis. That's nice. I already have another blueprint as well, and there's a bunch of new arcanes. Some of them seem really cool. I've gotten 3 or 4 of them. But then nothing happens. If you get stuck like this, one time I just did abort mission from here, and I believe I kept the stuff I farmed from there, but I've been using the Omni to jump back to my ship. And one time I jumped back to my ship early, and I believe it gave me my loot. One time I jumped back to my ship early, and it didn't give me my loot. There's this. It tells you to pilot your ship. That doesn't matter. you can walk over to navigation, but the only thing it lets you do is redo the mission. And that is when I didn't get anything. When I used the Omni to get back and redid the mission, I didn't even get any loot to disappear. So, again, I think I got my loot eaten once when I used the Omni before that timer went out, but I'm not 100% sure. But to be safe, I just wait for the timer to run out, and then Omni back to my ship, and then abort mission. That seems to have been, for me, what is the safest. When I come back in, load back into my base, it's a little long, unfortunately. You have to wait 30 seconds and then wait a loading screen back to your orbiter or the back room. And then it'll say mission complete. It will only show you as getting your rewards, your credits and your rewards for the mission. But you actually do get the gear, like these talents. I had 48. I believe, before that run. So I did gain them. Nope, sorry, I had not 40. I had, these are from a previous run. I had 6 emerald talents, so I got 20 of them. I did the green one this time. I was so used to doing the red one, I just assumed I did again. But you still get to keep your rewards. You still get to keep. I gotten a couple tellurium from here. Not 58, mind you, like 4 or 5. But I just have 58. So it's nice, a little bit buggy. If you want, you can wait until it's done. I have, a Forma, because I always have a Forma crafting if I can. But I got the Syrian and Orion chassis, neuroptics, systems. I have a second blueprint. You get one for finishing the quest. That's pretty typical. And then obviously I have another chassis now, so maybe I can get a helmet set. I got the Pride blueprint, which you can also buy all this stuff from the merchant. And this is something... Sorry, that's spoilers. I'm going to block out this thing's name, actually, to try and avoid story spoilers. But this is the merchant's name, Trinket. It's the thing that I bought from the merchant. Takes 12 hours to craft. And 12 hours gives me very weapon vibes. Plus, it looks like a weird, like, amalgamation of a relic. And it says an unidentified item, so I'm thinking it's a weapon. Anyway, that's it. Mission's a bit buggy. I'll be back to, you know, show off the character in 3.5 days. Technically, I could rush, or I could just, you know, buy one from the market. Oh yeah, also, this is just the new stuff in the update. We've got our Ash and Garuda Gemini skins. I don't care too much for Ash, but I've been playing a little bit of Garuda recently. And, you know, only wearing half a fucked up jacket aside, I do quite like this skin. So there's a chance that I grab this, but I would need to get more platinum. 400 of that, of the 467, shut up! Don't fucking say it. Is 400 of that is set aside for Mesa Heirloom, which I believe is set to come out on July 19th? July 11th, okay. So a little under a month. Then there's other stuff, like I do want to get the Marie Proto, or Gemini skin, Proto Frame skin. Plus there's a couple more things, so I might have to farm even more platinum soon, but maybe I'll just sit down and keep selling stuff. So anyway, I'll be back in 3.5 days, maybe not 3.5 days on YouTube, but 3.5 days on Twitch to play the new characters. Might be a little bit more than 3.5 days because I'm not going to be awake at the time that these would finish crafting. So, you know, maybe slap a couple extra hours onto that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Look at this dude. This is all getting cut out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you can't see it because of the shadows, but you can kind of see it if I angle like this. Remember to put down a cuck chair for Wally.